give me fuel, give me fire, give me that one to the side.
Welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight, it's the Kylou Glass Gen 4 series here live at Richmond. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, good old Richmond. Some short track action here this evening.
Absolutely, Dean. And it's a treacherous track. I mean, we've seen guys spinning out in here in practice. We've seen a lot of drivers really trying to get grips with this really tough Richmond Speedway.
Yeah, well, high-powered car, right, Jared? And we look at Richmond, I mean, traditionally coming out of the 4, always been pretty difficult. I mean, these guys, what do they have to do to counter spinning out of 4?
Well, I mean, the big thing is this is a tough track, right? I mean, excuse me, the track kind of breaks away, off of turn 4 in a way that really loads up the right rear. And the way you do it is we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, but you have to straighten up these corners a little bit. And in Richmond, with these tight corner radiuses, you really got to kind of almost diamond, a little shallow diamond, really helps this car get through there. But if you start moving up the groove and you start pulling that wheel more and more off the exit, if you pull the wheel and you're turning off as you exit the corner, you're going to have a bad time tonight because you're going to wear the right rear off the car.
All right, great tips as always. Let's get a look at our championship standings here, and what a battle it is. Now, officially the top, 10 or so have been plugged in. The rest might be a couple of points out, but we got a tie atop the points. Michael Walker the second, Chris Owens, both sitting there at the top. Pistole only 4 back. Ripka only 6 back. So 4 drivers within 6. Then you got Jason Ratliff, who's been stacking wins, may have missed a race due to the birth of his new son. You got Torgerson's right there. Powers and Greg Ratliff are in it, along with Brantley. I mean, it is stacked here, Jared. I mean, what a points battle we got.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dean. And unfortunately, I mean, we talk about it. I mean, provisionals tonight, it's one position after the last gridded car. So right now we have 17 that are in the server. I do see a couple drivers on the entry list that are not in the server, and that includes Michael Walker, who is tied for the point lead, and Jason Spear, who is a little bit further back. But Dean, our point leader, Chris Owens, isn't here. Lance Ripka, who is in 4th place, he's not here. So it's a little bit anticlimactic to see kind of a lot of our main contenders for this championship not here getting those provisional points. It's really going to stack up this championship, however.
Well, we just cut to 2 drivers wiping out and hitting the wall, Jared. I mean, are we in for it here at Richmond, this track-car combination? I mean, you said Jason Spear not here. He was in the server. Maybe he left. Maybe he's seen this car-track combo and said, no thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it looks like we have 15 people that are actually in the server right now. But, Dean, it's gonna be a treacherous race, even with that few of cars.
All right, let's get into tonight's starting grid. On the pole tonight, it's Austin Inman with a time of 21.938. The rightful man, Jason Ratliff, will start on the outside of row 1. Row 2 features Troy Torgerson along with Royce R.T. Valley. Paul Travis Sr. will start 5th with the Toad Man, Todd Gilly, right there with him. In 7th will be Ross Weiss. On his outside, West Pistole. Tony Ratliff and Jacob Musial will start in row number 5. You got Herb Ashley and Tom Ashley in row 6. We look a little further back. We got Shane Fleming, George Dibble, Michael Walker, and Jason Spear. I don't believe Spear or Walker have taken the field, so officially a 15-car field here tonight.
Yeah, and you look at these guys. This is an opportunity for Jason Ratliff, who's missed some races, like you said, Dean, because of the birth of his child. So now he has an opportunity to get some points back, maybe. You got Troy Torgerson in here. He's a little bit further back. He has an opportunity to gain some points here. And don't count out Wes Pistole, who, just by finishing decent here tonight, will likely be our point leader after it's all said and done. So as long as he can get probably a top 5, I think that he will be the guy in the catbird seat, which would be our 4th different point leader of the year.
All right, so intrigue here, some points movements coming up. Pace car leads them around. We're about set to go racing here at Richmond. Don't forget, this brought to you by Kylou Glass. Go check them out over on Facebook. All your glass blown needs. Pace car off the track. Inman and Ratliff will lead them to the green flag. We're racing here at Richmond.
Good start, good clean start by everybody. Everybody giving a little bit of room, but wow, Jason Ratliff was loose on the straightaway. That shows you just how little of grip we have here at this track here tonight, Dean.
Yeah, it's going to be treacherous. Guys got to hold on. Weiss down there underneath the Toad Man. In front of him, looks like, that was behind him, Paul Travis down on the bottom. He's wiggling off of 4.
A lot of drivers wiggling and jiggling already here tonight, Dean. It has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and the other thing here, 150 laps are going to burn through quick here, Jared. So, if we happen to go green, guys got to get it done quickly. I mean, just did a race where we were talking about the 30-lap pass. You know how long it takes to get around someone at certain tracks. Here tonight, I mean, you do a 30-lap pass, you're only going to pass 5 cars.
I 100% agree, and that's going to be the key thing, is to keep in mind as this race goes on what these drivers are going to be able to do to manage how that race is going to transpire.
Jacob Musial back on the track tonight. Good to see the 38 out here. Meanwhile, Inman opening it up, and we talked about this before in this series. Inman, Weiss, Pistole, these guys have experience in this car, these type of cars. I think they are the favorites when it comes to these, loose, high-powered machines.
I agree with you, Dean, and that we've seen that time and time all year. That it really comes to the drivers. There's a certain drivers that just have a knack for this car. And right now, I mean, you look at Austin Inman, he is really setting the pace. Already opened up that gap quite a bit over our second place driver, Ratliff.
He is, but Valley set the best lap last time by. So the 47 back in 5th all of a sudden finds himself getting a little hooked up. I think you'll see this ebb and flow, Jared, from lap to lap. Inman looking the best, obviously, early. But, it's hard to get into a rhythm when the car is so unstable.
It is. It's very hard. But if you can get in a rhythm, you can really open up the gap. And that's what we're seeing right here with Austin Inman. It's 1.2 seconds there at the line. Now 1.4, apologies. And Torgerson looking a little bit. And as always, we do have Doyle Lawrence in the chat cheering on Troy Torgerson, but that is the battle right now for second place. It includes Torgerson, Ratliff, and Paul Travis, and Torgerson looking to the outside.
Yeah, Torgerson moving around a little bit, keeping that car stable. Travis taking a peek down low. Can Travis get underneath Torgerson here?
Paul Travis had that shoulder surgery, Dean, so good to see him back out on the track tonight as he battles with Torgerson. Torgerson up to the high side. Now remember, this track very notorious to eat that right rear up, and Dean, running that high side will put a little bit extra on that right rear.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting, right, to see around lap 30 or so when these cars get some heat in these tires. Anybody running up high, I just don't know if that car is going to hang on for them. So Travis still working on Torgerson, and this is flashes of the 30-lap pass here, Jared.
It really is. It really is, and it's because you on the bottom you just cannot get the momentum. You can't open up that steering wheel to get the move done, and you're seeing right there Torgerson hanging tight there, but Travis is going to clear him on the bottom, it looks like.
Yeah, Travis looking really smooth out here. He's up 2 spots already, so something's suiting the 88 machine. You see he's got that East Coast Whipper, he's got the Alive Church on the front, and I'm sure you'll find Kylou Glass on there somewhere.
Right there, Royce Valley had to take a little bit of action there. Got a little bit loose on entry, and that's something that happens at Richmond because of the brake biases that are set here. You can get loose on entry quite a bit here if you kind of dive it in too deep. And right now, Todd Gilly trying to make a big move. He goes from the high side down to the bottom, and that is what I consider one of the moves you need to do to make a pass at this track is go really high up and then diamond off the corner there as Gilly trying to work his way into the top 5.
Yeah, I'm going to affectionately call that the Rachel Hunt line. We've seen a lot out of her lately. You know, drive in deep, almost come to a stop on that high side, and then make a left turn, Jared.
Yeah, and I've seen that done really well in the Xfinity car, and I've done that line in the Xfinity car. I have not driven the Gen 4 car here, so I don't know it's FSE as the run goes on, but I can tell you that it is effective in several other vehicles on the surface. Don't know why it wouldn't be effective in this one.
All right, the Rifleman sitting here in second. Inman out alone in the Sherpy machine, opening up a 1.65 lead on the field. Looking great, still running a 10th better than Ratliff, Travis, Torgerson, and Valley. So these guys got to pick it up over the course of this run. Michael Walker out of the race. Spear out of the race.
Well, I actually got Michael Walker, as you were talking, Dean. He is coming off pit road right now. So he must have some sort of internet issue or something, but he is 15 laps down, 16th place, and rolling off pit road for the first time tonight. Don't think he's going to get those laps back, but he might be able to scrounge a couple.
Oh, boy!
He wrecks in front of the leader.
He wrecks down into the grass on that fresh rubber. No caution on the track, so 15 down, make it 16, Jared.
Yeah, that's tough. I think he was probably just kind of looking in the mirror like, hey, I don't want to cause a problem, and then just maybe taking his eyes off where he was on the track. But I think he's going to get that thing rolling, and I wonder if maybe he had some connection issues, or maybe he's just not really a fan of the track. I don't know, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, he's out there getting a few laps in. He's going to pick up some spots. He's probably hoping for a wreck or two as he heads back to pit road. I mean, he's officially in, so he'll get at least one more point than guys who just take a provisional.
Absolutely. That could be huge in this tight championship battle.
Yeah, and I mean, provisional, when you only got 15 guys, you're going to get quite a few points, Jared. So this points thing, not over yet.
Absolutely. But right now, I'll tell you, this race has been all Austin Inman. But that gap has stabilized over the last 5 laps to around 1.5 seconds. And not a lot of changes at the line every time there. Paul Travis Sr. there in 3rd place. Those two have kind of opened up the gap. Then further back, you got Torgerson with Royce Valley. Todd Gilly, the Toad Man there, dropping off the back just a little bit. And West Pistole trying to make a move there. That's our only battle on track right now.
We're on board with West Pistole, and I got to say, Jared, I like what I'm seeing as he moves by the Toad Man here. He's getting that early entry. He's rolling the bottom, being real quiet here. It's not super fast now, but I think as these laps tick off, he's only going to get better and better.
And you look at those lap times, Dean, and, you know, at the line, let's see what we got. Inman, a 22.6. Jason Ravelow, just a quick tick quicker at 22.6 flat. Pistole at 22.7. So he is our fourth quickest car as Paul K. Travis there, just a little bit quicker at the line. So not bad for West Pistole, but I'll tell you a guy that is putting down some good lap times. Being a little bit further back, the 6 car of Tony Ratliff did a 6 or 7 that last lap. So a little bit of speed out of the 6 machine.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, he's always on the move, always coming. Another guy probably could use some better qualifying to get him some track position, but he's always moving forward. But I reiterate my call on Pistole. The way he's driving, Jared, I think he's going to move forward as this run goes along. Little prediction for you there.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is catching up to the back of Royce Valley right now, and you look at the lap times through the field. Got some sevens toward the back curb. Ashley doing a 7 back there in 13th, trying to move forward as he gets around Jacob Musial. We got Shane Fleming making a big move there as well, doing in the 7s, as well as right in front of Tony Ratliff gets around Ross Weiss. And then Tom Ashley, Dean, a good run last week. He's in 8th place here tonight. He was the second fastest car on track last lap.
Yeah, he's one of our cars to watch these days. He's been getting better and better. The 62 on the move again here tonight.
Fourth place finish last week, trying to back that up right now as he's chasing down the Toadman battle up there, though. It's Wesley Pistole who's going to get around him, get around Royce Valley, I should say, there for the 5th position. So Wes Pistole up a 3rd position here tonight. That puts him as the tied for the biggest movers of the race with Fleming and Dibble.
Yeah, I expect this to continue. Pistole knowing what he does. I said him, Weiss, and Inman, the guys who I really look at, and you can never count out the rifleman, Jason Ratliff. And another mention, I mean, Paul Travis still looking solid. He's catching up to Jason Ratliff.
These guys, and this race is really ebb and flowing, right? I mean, you're seeing a lot of back in the day when you used to watch the Gen 4 cars, they'd always talk about the rubber band effect. And that's where these fields, they get stretched out, real single file, a lot of space in between the cars. But like a rubber band, as the race goes on, as the run goes on, all of a sudden those cars start to come back together. And we're seeing that right now, especially there with Torreston. He's got a windshield or a rear view mirror full of Wes Pistole.
Inman already coming around, and soon we'll be taking on lap traffic, Jared. But his lead is shrinking.
Yeah, it's come down just a little bit. We're down to 1.4 from 1.5 as Pistole moves around Torgerson for 4th position there, and that's in that lap by, Ratliff gained another 10th, an exact 10th, a 7.34 to an 8.34. So, Dean, that was Ratliff might have saved a little bit in the tank as he's pulling away from Paul Travis as well.
Yeah, he's just been so good racking up wins. He really learned something. He got some new equipment, probably got some better feel, a better understanding of what he needs to do out there. And ever since, I mean, he probably piled up 5 or 10 wins over the last few months in different series across the board.
Big battle toward the middle of this field. Royce Valley, Tom Ashley there, and Tom Ashley going to the high side in 1 and 2, and he's going to complete the pass, maybe on the outside of 3 and 4 here as he gets a good run down the front stretch.
Yeah, Ashley on the high side, impressive here later in the run, hard to do. Valley up the track, almost into him.
Yeah, that's going to end the run. A little bit of a kind of a half block there, and Royce right there, Tom Ashley backs out, lets it go. Royce Valley overdrives the corner. Here comes Tom Ashley on the bottom.
Yeah, Valley a little out of control right now. Here comes Ashley. Tony Ratliff right there lurking as well.
And right in front of them, Gilly trying to get underneath Torgerson, who's kind of fallen back since the start of this race.
So the Toad Man moving on up here into the top 5. How about that? The 19 looking stout tonight.
Yeah, Gilly, great run. One of his best runs. We saw Tom Ashley also get super loose off of turn 4 on the bottom. And that's what I'm talking about, Dean. At the bottom, when you're on the bottom, you got somebody on the high side come up forward. You're having to put wheel into the car. And as you put wheel, it just loads up that right rear tire, and you just cannot get the throttle down. And now Tony Ratliff has joined into this battle.
So Ashley gonna complete this pass eventually on Valley, perhaps. All along, Tony Ratliff right there. Valley doing that drive it in deep and almost stop and turn left line. It's working for him. He continues to hold off Valley. I mean,
Tom Ashley, my goodness, Tom Ashley almost got in the back of him there. It looked like a hard block thrown by Royce Valley. And there we go, Royce Valley a little bit pushed loose off of turn 2. That's going to end the battle, or does it, as he slides on the outside.
Valley is all over the place right now. He's driving so hard, Jared.
And there we go. Tom Ashley moved him up into 7th place. Hill says sights on the Navy machine of Troy Torgerson. Now Tony Ratliff has an opportunity on Royce Valley.
Tony Ratliff going to make short work of this. Tony looking strong in the 6th. Valley a little better line that time. He holds on to her, and you can see the results. He stays side by side. His problem, he overdrives the corner. He'll do it again here. Way up the track he goes.
And you talk about Tony Ratliff, Dean, and he does make the pass, but he has been in a cold spell lately, Dean. I mean, you talk about the beginning of the year. He was 3rd in points, had only one finish outside the top 10. That was at Vegas, where he finished 16th, got caught in a late race wreck. But ever since Darlington, back in August, Dean, he has not finished better than 11th position. So Tony Ratliff looking to get his season back on track as Royce Valley battles back underneath them. At the same time, Tom Ashley gets underneath Torgerson, who battles back on the outside a little bit.
Yeah, Tom Ashley is so solid, up 6 spots now, into 6th position. Unbelievable. Up front, the lead now down to 6/10, Jared, and one could almost say welcome back to Jason Ratliff. A little shout out to the Welcome Back TV show. Welcome back, Kata.
I kind of hate you for that one, because I was trying to line that one up all night, and I just couldn't figure out a way to do it. And for those that don't know, we had a little bit of a bargaining chip tonight on who could get that worked in tonight.
I gave him too much time, folks. I could have worked that in at any time.
That's true.
I would prefer to see an Italian in the field so I could talk about Vinny Barbarino, but nonetheless, we got Austin Inman leading Jason Ratliff, the rifleman, hot on his tail, and this is bad news for Inman because we've seen this before, Jared.
Yeah, and the thing Austin's got to do is you got a good gap. It's 3 seconds back to Paul Travis, so you can battle a little bit with Jason Ratliff. But you don't want to hemorrhage time, and you see that throughout the field. You know, Royce Valley battling really hard with Tony Ratliff. Those guys have already lost 3 seconds to the battle in front of them. So, I mean, you don't want to battle too long. You have to know when to concede in these battles, and I think Inman is going to try to hold off Ratliff as long as he can, Dean. But, I think tonight we're looking at a one-stop pit stop if we have no cautions. So that's going to also play a factor.
Yeah, definitely one stop here tonight. So we're already approaching, we're on lap 47 of 150. Now this is the point in the race where we should see some movement. Anybody who's been gentle on the car, I think, should continue to move forward here. The Toad Man, very happy right here, sitting in 5th. And one thing I don't see is him getting unstable. So the Toad Man under control here this evening.
And Todd Gilly doing a great job in that machine. Now, Todd, you talk about him, Dean. He's had a kind of a little bit of a struggle. I think he'd admit that in this car. Hasn't had the season he's wanted. He has not finished in the top 10 at all this season, Dean. And he hasn't even qualified in the top 10 except 2 weeks ago at Talladega. So Gilly trying to find some momentum. And a good top 5 finish, Dean, it doesn't matter how many cars are in the field or how many, guys you pass. If you finish in the top 5, it's a good night, and I think Todd Gilly needs a good race here tonight to kind of get his psyche back together.
Yeah, I think so, and we talk a lot about it, the confidence that certain finishes will give you. This would be a great one for him. He's got to hold on. He's got guys behind him that are coming like Tom Ashley and Tony Ratliff both having great runs. Tony just clearing Torgerson, so Tony now up a couple. Tom Ashley up 6 spots. He's starting to hunt the Toad Man.
Yeah, and you talk about guys going the opposite direction. Torgerson down 5, Royce Valley down 5, Ross Weiss there in 10th down 3. So those guys, and they got a mirror full of some other guys that are kind of doing pretty decent tonight. Fleming up 3 positions in 11th. George Dibble, haven't talked about the McDonald's man back there. He's up 3 positions and hanging on to the back of this pack as well.
Yeah, there. Oh, and he's into the wall there. A little tail slap. There's Fleming right behind Weiss. But the big story right now, predicted by yours truly, is Mr. Pistole. He's been the fastest on the track for a few laps now, Jared. And I think when it comes to this point in the race, this is the car you're going to have to watch.
Yeah, the 98 machine, I mean, you think about it, Dean, you talk about this season, and you talk about drivers that have been at the front. And Pistole has had some bad finishes. He's been caught up in some wrecks. Chicagoland, caught up in a wreck. Atlanta, he was leading some laps there, caught up in a wreck. But you look at it, he has only had one really bad race this year, and that came at Las Vegas. Otherwise, at Talladega. And otherwise, he has been a driver, especially lately, Dean, where he's only had one finish outside the top 10 in the last 6 races. That's the kind of stuff you need to build momentum, and right now he's chasing down a podium finish here.
Yeah, he's coming quick. He is rolling up. He's been, for the last 5 or 10 laps, been sub 23 seconds, and he's the only car on the field to be doing that. So right now, Inman with a 22.99. So Inman picking up the pace a bit, and of course, Pistole slows down right when I say that. Tony Ratliff, he's gotten by Torgerson. So I think that already happened, perhaps.
Yep, that is correct, yep.
So he is trying to run down Tom Ashley. Tom Ashley underneath the Toad Man right now. Side-by-side action out of 4. Ashley a little loose.
And Todd Gilly, you know, he really wants to finish good. I mean, he's got a mirror full of Ashley. He lets Ashley go, trying to do it over-under a little bit. But he also doesn't want to let Tony Ratliff just come in here and slip by both of them. So I think that's a good move at this point in the race before the first pit stops. Kind of concede that spot, get in line, maybe learn something from Tom Ashley.
Yeah, Toad Man very generous there, letting Ashley go early in the race. Maybe a wise decision, but Tony Ratliff going to be next up. He's there now, Jared.
Tony Ratliff having a good race, and you look a little bit further back, everything's starting to kind of fall in. But I will say that the lead has jumped back up to 1 second, almost 1 second there, that last lap. We'll see what it is at the line. Obviously, the live standings are a little bit off depending on where they're at the track, right? But they are catching Tom Lester, who is our last driver in the race. We did lose Jacob Musial about 5 laps ago. He called it quits here tonight. So we're down to 14 drivers on the track, and Tom Lester, the first of those, looking at going a lap down.
We hop on board with Austin Inman here, and maybe we can just have a look, Jared, and have a see at how he's driving this track and what you think about the way that wheel's working.
Yeah, let's go on board here, and you look at in turn 1 right there. Look at the amount of wheel he's putting into that car, but look at as soon as he gets to that off-camber section, he's back straight. Go down in the corner, point that car right to the yellow line. And he is a rapper here, Dean, and I'm not a rapper at Richmond. I always like to kind of drift that car up just a little bit in 3 and 4 especially, but he is wrapping that yellow line. Look at the counter steer on the front straightaway, just a little counter steer, and that shows you just how little grip they're doing, and you can hear it in the throttle, Dean. He's not getting very hard in the gas off turn 4, back down into turn 3, get to that yellow line, wrap that yellow line, and look how straight he is. As soon as he gets to that point, middle of 4, he is straight on the steering wheel, and then he hits that rev lip, the chip right there at the end of the straightaway. I love what I'm seeing out of the 18.
Sure, something I want you to talk about here. As we enter the corner, you will see the wheel stay straight and even go to the right as he's turning left. Can you explain to us how a car can turn left while you steer right?
Yeah, so the big thing with with Richmond is because it is such a flat. I mean, there's no banking on the straightaways, on the back straightaway. So what's happening is the car just unloads in a way that causes a lot of oversteer on entry. So you're kind of having to kind of drive that car in straight, because if you put wheel into the car, you're going to have a tendency to induce a push loose condition at this racetrack, and that's something you want to avoid. So you're basically trying to chop off this corner, and what you're doing, Dean, is you're angling the car so it's pointed in the direction you want it to be in, and then you're using the steering wheel as kind of a secondary mechanism more than anything else as you enter that corner.
Pistole just drives right by Paul Travis Sr. as we get that great source of information from Mr. Carr. Always something to learn here in the booth when we talk to you, Jared. And, you know, I consider you a student of racing here, and these techniques we talk about, there's so many of them, and they're varied track to track. It's a lot to take in, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of it you can learn by just watching other drivers, especially on the sim. And you can even watch old races too. I mean, there's a lot to be learned. I mean, it's not a one-to-one translation, but you can learn and kind of understand the racetrack at a very high level when you watch old races on YouTube. And you know, I love the, you know, from, you know, the era, you know, the mid 80s all the way up into, you know, probably the COT era was some of my favorite racing ever. So you know, I definitely probably overwatch too much racing.
You got a bit of an addiction, do you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I wonder if Vinny Barbarino had an addiction issue.
No, that's two. I just.
I think he did.
He
seemed like he was a little too pumped up for class for me.
Yeah.
Austin Inman, your leader here on lap 69 as we approach the halfway mark in this Kylou Glass Gen 4 series. The Rifleman continuing to chase and hunt, now within a half second of our leader.
Yeah, right. Old Jason Rattle, if you can never count him out, Dean, and you think about the stats, right? We talk a lot about the drivers and how do we know what's going on in the races and things like that. Who's really the guy to watch or one of the guys to watch? But Dean, you look at the data. I love looking at the data, and West Pistole has the most quality passes. And for those that don't know, quality passes is when you make a green flag pass you make a green flag pass within the top 10. So West Pistole leads the league in quality passes here at RGR, and that shows why, right? I mean, maybe he could qualify better and kind of not have those, but Dean, he is a guy that is a force to be reckoned with. But I just wonder if that gap is just a little bit too much. I mean, 7 seconds behind our top two. I just don't think he's going to be able to overcome that without some crazy strategy or caution.
Yeah, I agree, Jared. I mean, he is faster than our top two, but we're talking about, 0.02 of a second faster. That's not going to get it done. So you're absolutely right. He's going to need a caution or, like you said, perhaps some crazy pit strategy. I mean, could we see a short pit? I mean, we're almost at halfway, so I guess the answer probably no on the short pit. Torgerson comes in, but Torgerson had fell a great deal, so he just wants some rubber, Jared. He's sick of driving this machine.
Yeah, and my guess is you could probably do about 90 laps on a tank of gas. That would be my rough estimate. So you can really open the pit window up, around lap 60. So I don't have a problem with Torgerson getting on pit road. He should be fine on gas to make it to the end of this race. And we'll see how it plays out. Maybe this might be a good move for him to make something happen here.
Yeah, the Toadman came in too. So the Toadman and Torgerson are first pitters here. When does their top two in particular going to be interesting? I think it's a great opportunity for the Rifleman here to jump him and maybe get out in front of him. because it's going to be hard to pass. I mean, it's near impossible to run him down. The lead back to 7/10 instead of 5/10. He's been sitting here for a while. Paul Travis, he's on pit road.
And so is Dibble, it looks like, as well, if I'm not mistaken. I thought, yeah, he is on pit road.
So Dibble in, Travis in. We've had 4 come in. We bring up our pit board here. Decent times on pit road.
The stops are starting, Dean.
And you can see time that can be made up. Lester with a 44, pit time, pit lane time. A Dibble a 41.7, Gilly a 43.1. I mean, 1.5 seconds equates to how much track time, Jared?
Well, 1.5 seconds. It's a 20. These guys right now doing 23s, right around 23 flats. At the beginning of the race, they were doing 22 flats ish. So that's quite a bit of time that can be made up there, Dean.
Interesting. Paul Travis in the middle of our 2 leaders here. I don't think Travis has pitted.
He is pitted.
He has pitted, so he's having a heck of a time getting around him, Jared, even with fresh rubber.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's kind of watching him. Does he want to be involved, right? And there is that line, right? You don't want to get in there and stick your nose in there and really do anything. He does make the pass go. He doesn't want to influence their battle, I don't think, but he does get through it. But at the same time, maybe the tires aren't falling off as much as we think.
Well, and cold tires are dangerous here. There's no doubt about that. So maybe he's just being a little tentative there. You see the Toad Man moving up on our leaders as well. So early stops are going to shake up our field here as Austin Inman, Jason Ratliff, Wes Pistole, Tony Ratliff, and Tom Ashley are top 5, still out on the track, all the way down to 8, still rolling here.
Yeah, this is, and I think that's bad news for our early pitters, right? I think there is enough fall off to where I don't think these guys are going to be able to hold anybody off late in this race. But it's only about a second of fall off, so not a lot of fall off at Richmond, which is a little strange because that's not how it was in 2003 by any means. But I do find that guys like Inman and Ratliff, I mean, they're kind of controlling this pace at this point. And with that little fall off, Dean, it's going to be very tough for anybody to make a pit strategy move to gain time.
Well, it's still a second a lap, Jared. And, that's a lot when these guys are going to stay out here 10, 20 laps longer than others. That equates to 10 or 20 seconds. I mean, I don't think at this point these 2 are going to come out in first place.
Well, they won't come out in the lead. That is 100% true. But I don't think the early pit stop is going to be a winning strategy. The key is if these guys early pit and they're conservative on the tires and they have a little bit in the tank left with 40 to go, then we can start talking about there could be something there. But I just don't know if that's really going to be something that will happen.
Now, another thing I think about at a place like this, with a car like this, how much fuel you want to put in the tank, Jared. I mean, I'd be short fueling this thing quite a bit, trying to get that thing tightened up a little bit.
Well, actually, Dean, we briefly talked about this last week. Less fuel in this car actually loosens the car up because it shifts the aero balance backwards.
Yeah, so that would be a mistake on my part, and I'd be scratching my head, Jared, and it wouldn't be the first time that I had to scratch my head or something else.
So if you jump in the race, Dean, don't do less fuel unless you're battling a tight car, because otherwise you'll be screaming that you're super loose and wrecking loose.
Well, I often test to be clear, Jared. I test it prior because of previous conversations with you, to be honest, because even within a certain car, certain tracks can change whether you get loose or tight. So that information I found very valuable a couple of years ago, and certainly was appreciated. Herb Ashley on pit road here, an awful slow entrance there, Jared.
Yeah, Herb getting on pit road, doesn't want that penalty and being extremely conservative there. And where he's running, Dean, I mean, he wasn't with really anybody. I think that's smart. You don't want to ruin a top 10 finish by speeding on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, caution, right? Let's be cautious. Let's get it in. Talk a lot about that when you're pitting as a team at Talladega or Daytona. You're only as good as your worst teammate, so let's be safe. Let's not, we seen a few weeks ago where two guys, I think it was Newton and Spear, got on pit road, had a great pit stop, but their other teammates didn't come off with them, so they came out alone, Jared, and they were just no good. Two cars wasn't enough, and they fell. So you got to get everybody together, and the same principle applies here for a guy like you just mentioned, Ashley, who was kind of all alone. Nothing to really gain. Let's be safe. A penalty is the last thing we need.
Yeah, you look at the leaderboard now, Dean. The gap back down to half a second between our leaders, but the problem is, and this is a known thing, right? With this car, is there is an aero effect at smaller tracks in which it just gets a little bit tight on that vehicle the closer you get. But it also can make the leader a little bit loose when you're right behind him too. You can really take the air off somebody's nose and their rear end. And it really, this car is very influenced by aero in a way that you don't experience with the next gen or the Xfinity car on this service. So Jason Ratliff right now, I think he's just kind of playing this easy, trying to kind of see what move Austin Edmonds going to make here coming to the end of this race.
Jared, I'm looking back right now. Great, you're absolutely right about that. But looking back at Paul Travis here, and behind him is Tom Ashley, who's in fifth. So Tom Ashley, it just visually doesn't look like he's hemorrhaging a whole bunch of time here. He hasn't pitted yet.
Yeah, half a second is all Tom Ashley was slower that lap. 23.1 to a 22.6 for Paul Travis. Let's see what we got the line here. Leaders doing 23.3s. They are in the midst of traffic. Let's see here. George Dibble, 22.8. We got Pistole at a 23.2. Let's see. We got Paul Travis, 22.6. Tom Ashley at 23.2. So that's only 0.8. That's not a lot. Dean, as the leaders are in a big
I think
gaggle.
it said 0.6. Well, and regardless, it's not a lot. You're right.
Yeah. Gaggle of cars around our leaders, and Torgerson goes by. Royce Valley a little bit tight on Austin Inman. That's going to open up the door maybe for Jason Ratliff to jump in.
Oh, no, and he takes her leader up.
He wrecked him.
Valley into Inman. The rifleman by. Inman trying to gather it up. Holy smokes, Valley affects the race, Jared.
Yeah, and I watched him a couple laps, Dean, while you were talking, and Valley was doing that earlier when we were watching. He was driving it in deep and then just letting the car roll up to the top of the track. I don't know if he couldn't get it down or what happened, and Austin Edmonds going to come to pit road. That is so unfortunate because I think that kind of may be the race-ending move. But he did that again, and he got in there deep, and he just didn't get the car down or couldn't get the car down. I'm not sure, but unfortunately Austin Inman, the innocent bystander, and Valley did apologize, but that only goes so far, I'm sure, for Austin Inman right now.
Yeah, that's one of those you can take your apology. I'll leave it right there. Tony or Jason Ratliff, sorry. Now he's contending with Valley. Maybe Valley will go give him a look at how high up Jason Ratliff goes. He's like he wants no part of this.
Yeah, Valley on new tires, so he should be able to get out of here, and he does. And here comes Ratliff, late pit entry.
Yeah,
my goodness,
great.
That is I don't know what to say. That was a superb pit entry if he did not speed.
You know what it reminded me of, Jared, is we once ran Charlotte as an all-star with no speed limit, and we were coming from that high lane all the way down like that. That was a great entrance by the rifleman.
So let's see where we all get pulled out. I think Paul Travis Sr. is going to be our race leader when this is all said and done.
There he is.
You lose about 2 laps.
So he coming by start finish right now. He moves past Weiss, past Ratliff. So Paul Travis gonna have himself a big lead with 50 to go, Jared. The Toad Man slips into second. Inman now into third.
Oh,
what's happened to Jason Ratliff? Speeding?
He sped.
Oh,
sped,
no!
I wondered.
It looks so good, Jared.
Yeah, I was sitting here watching that timer, Dean. I watched his entry, and Dean, he is you know, looking at 50 miles an hour at that line, and you got to be aware that line is pretty early.
And I wonder how much of the effect with him concentrating on Valley being around, he's trying to stay in that high groove away from him. Maybe a last second decision to hit pit road, comes in, speeds. So the Inman incident, as we will call it, is nullified here. And now Austin Inman all alone, but Gilly's in front of him. He's working on Gilly right now, Jared, and he'll go by. Now he's 7 seconds back of Paul Travis Sr. with 48 laps at the line.
Yeah, Paul Travis is right behind Jason Ratliff. So Ratliff is 1 lap down, on the verge of being 2 laps down. Now Ratliff does have some opportunity to gain some spots, but Dean, this is not what Jason needed in a night when it's a thin field, an opportunity to gain some points. And right now, Paul Travis doing a 22.7. Let's see what we got with Inman here. He is coming across the line now, I believe, 22.1. So about 0.6 of a second is the difference between our leaders. So I think Travis, he's going to get caught, but is he going to get are the tires going to be leveled out by that point in time, Dean? That's the key for Paul Travis.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, it doesn't look great for Paul Travis, but what I love about it, Jared, you've heard me say this numerous times, like, try something different, right? Like, we do not want to follow the leader in and off of pit road, or we'll just follow him the rest of the race. So Travis tries something. He's your leader now. He's got an honest-to-goodness good chance of winning this race. Now a 4.7 second lead.
0.6 slower that lap for Travis. But Dean, as I said before, these cars level out about 23 flat. And once they hit 23 flat, they really don't drop below that, as we have Lester and Dibble on pit road there from 10th and 14th. So those guys coming back on pit road for some reason. But either way, Paul Travis, Dean, consistently 0.6 slower. But you know, I think that he needs this race to kind of get to about 130. And when he gets to 130, I think he'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The time coming down a little too fast. We'll see what Inman can do. That time, a 22.8 for Travis, a 22.4 for Inman. So down to 0.4 the difference now. This is going to be interesting, Jared.
Inman entering turn 3 as Paul Travis gets off turn 4, gets underneath and past Ross Weiss, puts him a lap down.
Ooh, and Inman almost into Herb Ashley there on exit. Might be in a slight bit of contact. Holy cow, Jared.
Actually, yeah, that was really tight. Ross Weiss unlapping himself. I apologize there. But, yeah, I mean, now that last lap was 4.10. Let's see what this one is. Not a great lap from Paul Travis because of that lap car there. So we got 23.1. And Inman does right now a 22.5, so still 0.6 no matter how you slice it. Wes Pistole, though, is faster than both of them, Dean, and he is only 5 seconds out. So and he's only 3 seconds behind Inman. So this could be interesting here. I don't think Inman has this quite in the bag yet.
No, he's got a challenge in front of him, Jared, which is going to make him perhaps overdrive the car a bit. Pistole, you know, he's going to do his steady driving thing, and he's making up time. I think it's all going to come together, concertina effect in full effect.
Absolutely, and you look at this race right now, that is kind of our intriguing battle. We do have a little bit of a battle on track between Torgerson and Tony Ratliff. Those guys battling there as well with Tom Ashley. That is a battle for 5th position. Tony Ratliff gets by Torgerson, and Tom Ashley now trying to get around Torgerson. So that's really it. Everybody else pretty spaced out, except we are watching that concertina effect. Right now, a gap 1.6 seconds to Paul Travis, and then another 2.3 back from Inman to Pistole. So Dean, this is pretty close.
Yeah, this is wild right now. Inman closing in 1.2 seconds, like you said. Time starting to get together. Pistole, the fastest of them all. He is coming.
Now, don't want to be remiss while we have a chance, kind of watching this. Todd Gilly by himself in 4th position. Solid pit stop. He was one of our first pit stoppers tonight, Dean. Him and Troy Torgerson, and he is pretty much in no man's land. He's about 5 seconds behind Pistole and about 4 seconds ahead of Tony Ratliff, and doing good lap time. So a solid, potentially, definitely a solid run going, but a potential top 5 finish here on the line for Todd Gilly.
This is my favorite spot, Jared. Sit right here. I can pour a drink, you know, get my feet up a little bit. It's probably a bad idea. That's when I wreck or something. But Gilly, what a drive he's having. I love it. Tony Ratliff trying to run him down. He's in 5th. And then Tom Ashley also coming. So both those guys faster than Gilly. Can Gilly hold on to a top 5 tonight?
And 2 of those guys we talked about, Todd Gilly, no top 10s in the series. Tony Ratliff has been on a 5-race cold streak. So both these drivers looking for a solid run here tonight. But right now the eyes are on Paul Travis as he has Austin Inman all over the back of him, and Pistole's not too far behind.
Yeah, here comes Inman. The big thing here for Inman, how quick can he make this pass? Does Travis give him any heat? He won't. He'll let him go. That's bad news for Pistole. Pistole needed him to help him a little bit, but Pistole's still coming.
Yeah, I thought Paul Travis would battle a little bit harder there. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I mean, I get you're on old tires, but man, I mean, we're down to, 30 to go. I mean, you're not completely dead in the water here.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think he accepted his fate. He's seen how far, like he ran him down from 6 seconds back, Jared, or whatever it was. I think he said, listen, I'm not here to wreck my car or anything. I would love a top 3, and I think he's already focused on that 3rd place position. Pistole starting to close in. He was just a hair faster than Inman. That's not going to be enough, Jared.
Yeah, you look at those lap times, 22.5, 22.6 to Pistole. So Pistole it looks like he might be running out of momentum here late in this race.
Yeah, and I think Inman back out front, that's where he wanted to get. He probably calmed himself down a bit, and calming yourself down here probably produces better lap times. That time at 22.7, Pistole at 22.6, so it switches up.
Yeah, and going back to that little incident there with Inman and Royce Valley, Dean, that shows you the amount of time that cost him. 5 seconds, and that you're thinking 5 seconds, that's not very much. Well, on a racetrack, that is a quarter of a lap at this track, and that's how the difference is. That's how West Pistole is even in this conversation, as right in front of Austin Inman, Royce Valley and Ross Weiss almost made contact off turn 4 there, and that had to be a little bit of a squeamish moment for our race leader.
I can tell you, Valley has been driving the snot out of that machine, Jared.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell exactly what happened, but they were on top of each other off of turn 4 there. I don't know, which one was which, but
and Jared, just a reference, snot. It kind of reminds me of Horseshack from Welcome Back, Carter.
Man, you're just killing me tonight on this.
Mr. Kata. And I'm showing my age, folks. You might not know the show. That's going back to the 70s, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
And if you don't, you got to go watch it. And what came on right after it as well, the White Shadow, Jared.
Yeah, that one I definitely don't know.
The White Shadow was a white basketball coach of an all-black basketball team. Great show. Here's a big battle. Gilly and Tony Ratliff side by side. Gilly just a hair loose on it, and he gonna let him go. Gilly lets him go. So Gilly's still in the top 5, but Tom Ashley right there. He's got to race for this, Jared. I want it for him.
Yeah, he hasn't had a top 10 all year, but I think that was smart to let Tony Ratliff go, because you don't want to get everybody involved in the battle, right? And if you drag somebody else into the battle, it makes it really hard to hold on to that position, because now you have 2 people you're trying to hold off. So I think Gilly doing the right thing, maybe trying to counter and go 1-on-1 instead of doing 2-on-1.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. Tom been so solid. 25 laps, a long time. I don't think Gilly can hold him off. He's probably going to get him right here. It'll be an easy 6th place for the Toad Man, but the top 5 just out of his grasp, perhaps.
Oh, what a run off turn 2 by Todd Gilly. I like that line he's running. If he can just use that momentum just a little bit more, angle that car down just a little bit more, he gets pushed into the wall just a little bit. That might hurt him, but he's battling back on the outside again.
He is battling hard, Jared, but it's to no avail. Tom Ashley clears and into 5th. He's up 7 spots. What a run again for the 62. We're seeing it each week, 3 nights a week lately. Tom Ashley becoming the guy to watch, Jared.
Yeah, and you think about it, Dean, you know, we talk about that all the time in this series. You know, Tom Ashley is continuing to improve. But he started out the season, no top 5 finishes, Dean, until he got to Darlington. And that was, you know, kind of, you know, late pit stops kind of played in there. But Dean, he has been on a tear the last 3 weeks outside of Talladega, and he's really shown some promise. And that's what you like to see, build momentum in this long season.
All right, let's get back up front where things are heating up a little bit. Pistole, he's been running a little bit better than Inman before the last lap. He's got it down to 2 seconds here, under 2, Jared.
Pistole he's got to run his race. Inman has a lot of lap traffic in front of him. He's got Torgerson, he's battling with Dibble right now. He's got Ross Weiss up there. He's got a couple other drivers right in front of him. So Inman does get around Dibble, no problem. Weiss and Torgerson are battling. That is for position, I believe. So, you know, they're obviously not wanting to concede that position to each other, and Weiss does clear him. But Inman does have this opportunity here to either make up time, or Weiss has, or Pistole has an opportunity to make up time, I should say.
Pistole makes up another 10th and a bit there, down to 1.7. 19 laps to go, Jared. He's going to need a 10th a lap.
Yeah, I think he could do it, but the key is, you know, in the lap traffic. Are they going to harass Inman? And then if they harass Inman, are they going to harass Pistole? Usually you try to stay on the lead lap most of the time, so you're a little bit more conservative as Torgerson does let Inman go, or was kind of forced maybe, I couldn't tell. But either way, Inman gets through that one no problem.
Inman doing everything right here, except for getting hit by another car. It's been a perfect night for the Sharpie machine.
That lap right there, I mean, Pistole was still about a little over a 10th quicker as Dibble goes around Torgerson. And that's what Pistole doesn't want. Pistole doesn't want these guys side by side. That is 100% true. Let's see here. Pistole lost time right there. Lost a little bit of time to Inman.
Yeah, and that was just from watching the guys in front of him, Jared, not even dealing with them.
Now he gets underneath Fleming, so right there. Now he's got Ross Weiss, who is the last car on the lead lap officially here. And will Weiss try to battle and stay on that?
Weiss forces a little bit of a low exit, but nothing major there. So Inman clear, and now, you know, you see Pistole's coming up on 3 cars, Jared. That's what you like when you're the leader. When you're Inman, you're like, I got 3 cars between me and the chaser.
Yeah, and Fleming is battling with Ross Weiss. That is a battle for position, a battle for 7th right there. But Inman will not catch any more lap traffic for the rest of this race naturally. Tom Lester is the next guy in line. He's about 8 seconds ahead of our race leader, so I don't think he will catch him before this race is over.
Yeah, it's looking like Austin Inman. He's just got to get through everybody. He's got clear track ahead. That's good news for him, Jared.
Yeah, massively good news for Austin Inman there. And Wes Pistole is getting through pretty cleanly. I mean, the lap cars are being very generous, but unfortunately there is just some points. You're catching them in the wrong spots, right? You're catching them coming off turn 2. You're catching them off turn 4, so you're still losing time every time. But it is down to 1.4 seconds. Pistole's not dead in the water just yet.
You see that gap, just Ross Weiss in between Pistole and Inman. Inman this time by was a 9-1 for Inman and a 9-5 for Pistole, so a slight loss for Pistole. Inman coming close to 10 to go.
Yeah, and you look around the rest of the field, everybody, the only other battle really is that battle for 7th we talked about that's kind of in the midst of our leader battle here, Dean. And everybody else pretty well spread out. Tony Ratliff has opened up the gap on Tom Ashley. Gilly has settled in nicely to 6th position. Paul Travis sitting there in 3rd by himself. He may get to this lap traffic here before the end of the race, but will not be pressed to do much with it.
All right.
Take a look at, Jason Ratliff had that speeding penalty, Dean, and he is sitting in 12th position. He's 4 seconds behind Herb Ashley. He is faster than Herb Ashley. He might have an opportunity to pass him and Royce Valley before the end of this race. But that's going to be crucial if Jason Ratliff is going to salvage some points here tonight to get around those two drivers.
Yeah, what a run he was having, Jared. He was just sitting there waiting to make his move, doing everything, and then, the Inman incident happened. Then he sped, did Ratliff. Wow, unforced error for the rifleman. And, he hasn't been on the track as much either, Jared, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, and it looks like such a good pit stop, Dean, but, it looks like, he just was just a little bit over.
How about Paul Travis quietly in 3rd here, Jared? He's got 3rd locked up here. What a great pit stop he chose, and it's just been a great night for the 88.
Yeah, Paul Travis, obviously missed some races with some shoulder surgery. He was back at Talladega, but this is really the first race he's been able to do that's kind of a little bit demanding, right? I mean, he didn't elected not to do Auto Club last week, but Richmond's a pretty tough track to come back to. Talladega not really demanding on you physically, but he was having a good season before that surgery. I mean, at Chicagoland, Rockingham, and Vegas to start the year off, Dean, and now getting back in there, getting in the flow, and coming home with his best finish of the year.
You got Tony Ratliff back in 4th. He's picked up 5 spots. What a solid run here out of him. We expect nothing less from him at this point. He's been very good. Tom Ashley up 7. Talked a lot about Tom. Solid night. And the one I was hopeful for a top 5, and I'm still happy to see him in 6th. The Toad Man having his best run of the season.
Yeah, Todd, no top 10s here tonight, top 10s coming into tonight. That will definitely end for sure. And Tony Ratliff, we talked about a little bit, had been on a cold streak, 4 finishes outside the top 10 in a row, and been caught up in wrecks and everything else. But solid run for him. Ross Weiss there in 7th. Shane Fleming, Dean, we haven't talked a lot about Shane Fleming. He's kind of been on the periphery of some of the battles we've talked about here, but want to give him his due. He hasn't finished in the top 10 at all this season. A best finish last week at Auto Club of 14th. He's sitting in 8th position, so a great run for Shane Fleming. And unfortunately, we got to talk about some guys not having good nights. Torgerson down 6, Royce Valley down 6. Just could not find their momentum.
Yes, a little surprise with Torgerson. Valley overdriving a bit. That's where you end up at with overdriving Richmond and this machine. But the story of the night, as Dibble comes to pit road late, a very odd move. It's Austin Inman on the white flag lap. He is down through 1 and 2. He'll come underneath the Toad Man here. That'll be one last lap the Toad Man has to drive. Inman through 4. He'll come home and be victorious here in the Richmond 150. Pistole comes home 2nd. Travis will come around in 3rd. Tony Ratliff and Tom Ashley likely 4th and 5th place finishers. Inman survives the little wreck and gets the victory here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, what a job. And you're all right. 5 cars on the lead lap there. Ratliff and Ashley finishing out the top 5. Gilly in 6th. Ross Weiss with a good finish in 7th. Fleming, Torgerson, and Valley. Then Herb Ashley in 11th. Jason Ratliff wasn't able to gain those positions, finishes 12th. then Tom Lester and George Dibble rounding out your last running vehicles, with Musial leaving on lap 35, and Michael Walker only able to complete 2 laps before retiring for the evening in 16th, Dean. But this belonged to Austin Inman. He led all but 1 lap under green, and that went to Jason Ratliff. Then, of course, obviously the laps under the pit stops. But, Dean, what a dominant performance by Austin Inman.
Yeah, I mean, just a great, great run by him. And like I said, he survived that one incident. He's not too sure what to do for a burnout here, Jared. He's through the grass. He's into the wall. He's having some fun with it down there. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. But the Sharpie machine was sure sharp out there tonight. Right now, let's go, Jared. Let's take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get interviews, including our winner, Austin Inman. At the Acura machine. I believe that's a GT3 car. We got to get Mr. Carr out in that thing.
Yeah, that's a fun car. I haven't, or I've heard it's a fun car. I have not had a chance to drive it.
So, quick look over our results. We went through them there. You know, some of the shames, people who weren't here tonight, like Ripka, you probably can name a few more that weren't here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, we're missing Chris Owens tonight. Ripka wasn't here. Tracy Powers, Greg Ratliff. A lot of Jason Brantley. A lot of drivers electing either to not race this race or not available to race here tonight. But it opened the door for Austin Inman to get his first win of the year.
Yeah, it did. And we'll see what that does for our points as we get through some of our interviews here. Right now, let's go ahead and we'll bring in our third place finisher, Mr. Paul Travis, the number 88. Great run here tonight. Congratulations on third, Paul.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was actually kind of shocked to be sitting up here with you guys. I really feel like Jason Ratliff literally had probably a good enough car to race with Austin there for that win.
Well, he certainly did. Speeding on pit road there, we thought it was one of the best pit stops we've seen, but now we know why, because it's a little bit quick, Paul. But let's talk about your race, and let's start with your pit stop. A little bit of a short pit here. You end up with I don't even know, 6 or 8 second lead or something, and we thought maybe, these cars weren't dropping off as much as we're used to at Richmond, just about a second or so. We thought you had an outside shot at it here.
Yeah, I would have loved to have ran later in the run, but I went kind of hard trying to get up there in the top 3 and try to battle for the lead. I figured, in practice my car looked better than what it did in the race, but I overdrove the tires a little bit, and I said, you know what, the only shot I got at a top 3, top 4 is probably the short pit at, around 75 laps.
Well, I love that, Paul. Let's do something different. Let's throw something at it. I think it paid off at least for third place. And tell us a little bit about driving the track here. Looked like the track car combo, bit of a handful. We've seen a lot of guys spinning off of 4 in warm-ups and such, and even in qualifying. It was tough out here. You had to manage this machine, didn't you?
This is the first time I've driven the Gen 4 car here at Richmond, and I know they did some updates to the car and also to the track. Literally, the track really looks weird, almost like it's got more banking, but the car will go down there in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and literally rotate on the dime. You can brake going in and let it roll through the center of the turn, and you had to be real easy getting back on the throttle, or you would end up losing it coming off the turn. But getting it to rotate wasn't a problem at all.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that as we got on the in-car cameras, Paul, and we were seeing guys turning left while the car was going, or turning their wheel right while the car was going left. A bit of an interesting thing to drive, isn't it?
It really was. I'm not gonna lie. I loved it. I Last night in practice, I literally called Jason Brantley and text George and told them all. I'm like, man, this thing is so much fun to drive here at Richmond.
Now let's talk a little bit about the injury, Paul. Coming off a shoulder surgery, how you doing? How's getting through these races going for you?
It's getting better week by week. I'm still in physical therapy about 3 days a week, stretching, 3, 4 times a day, and starting to lift some weights now, which I wasn't supposed to be in the rig at all. My doctor said I had to wait for 5 weeks. Of course, you guys see me on a few pop up races, but I feel like that. I think things are better for me. I don't think I'm in the pain that I was in before, and I feel like it's starting to show on the track. I'm starting to learn a little bit more about saving the tires and being around there at the back end of these races.
Well, with more time at home or nothing, you haven't got recommended to mental therapy, have you?
No, but my wife's about to shoot me.
That's what I was referring to, Paul. Hey, what a run, man. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed watching you out there tonight. Solid job on a really, really tough night at Richmond. We'll turn it over to you, Paul. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you guys. You guys do this for us 3 nights a week and put on one of the best shows on the internet and sim racing. And want to give out a big shout out to Jason Brantley. His wife texted me right as we was gridding and let me know that Jason was running a pretty high temperature and he was going to be in bed. But I want to thank my teammates Claus and Shane and George, and I got to thank the admins for the league. Them guys are amazing. I want to thank Kylou Glass for sponsoring this division, and Gen 6. Of course, we've got the East Coast Web Printers, and of course, live church on Sunday nights. And just remember, everybody, live fully alive.
You bet you live fully alive and stay lifted, Mr. Travis. Jared, that is Paul Travis Sr. coming off the injury and grabbing third place here this evening.
Yeah, what a run for Paul. And I'm down here with Wes Pistole, who gained the most positions on the night. Wes, what a run. It looked like you were closing in on Austin Inman, but just needed a little bit more time there.
Yeah, ran out of laps there. I don't know if he took full fuel that lap on the pit stop, but I did not, and that made my car handle a lot better. And I was catching up to him pretty quick, but just ran out of time.
Yeah, and you really had kind of an eventful night. You started toward the middle back of this field, and you started picking your way through this field a little bit as the run developed, and it looked like you kind of found your footing in the middle of the race. Was your plan to kind of lay back and kind of let the race kind of come to you, or did you were you trying to figure out the track?
No, I felt good with worn or with higher pressures, or once the tires warmed up and the track felt pretty well under me. On cold tires, it was terrible. I never did get a good handle on it on cold tires. That's why my qualifying effort was so bad. I just for 2 laps I could not get it under me. But once the pressures came up and we settled in, yeah, it was. I felt good about my long run speed, and I was running the same lap times as Austin and Jason before the pit stop, or it was pretty close, maybe within the tenth of them. But it was I was my qualifying effort kind of got me too far behind to be able to make it up. But yeah, I like Richmond, and it ran pretty well for me. I feel like traffic at the end was a little bit of an issue. Not that nobody did anything wrong. It was just hard to get through it. These cars, for whatever reason, here they were really air sensitive, and catching up to people made you really have to back up the corners to get through them.
Well, Wes, you did a great job navigating all of that stuff, and you look ahead. You came into this race, you were third in points. Top two guys had issues or weren't here tonight, making you basically the de facto point leader heading into next week. I mean, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, I think I've put down a consistent performance so far this season. So, that's the name of the game. It sucks for those guys having problems, but whenever they do, you got to be able to take advantage of it, and that's what I've been trying to do.
Well, Wes, you had a great run here tonight, and I look forward to probably speaking to you again this year. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on your race here tonight.
Yeah, as always, thanks to Kylou Glass, East Coast Web Printers, and Live Church for putting this together for us. It's been a great time for us, and hopefully it's a good show for everybody. Wind Tunnel TV again. I'll watch your show tomorrow. I always do. It's fun to watch it, and learn from it, and see what we can do for weeks going forward. Say hi to my wife, my dad, my in-laws, my cousin Daniel. Hope it was a good show for everybody. Love you guys, and go Vols.
All right, Dean, that was Wesley Pistole there with the runner-up finish here tonight.
Yeah, what a job he did. You know, I was high on him the way he was driving around the track. Only one guy driving better. That was 18, Austin Inman, and he's down in victory lane. Congratulations, Austin.
Whew, thanks, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, we're doing great up here. You know, we just made a little crack about mental therapy. Did you need a little in the car at one point tonight, Austin?
Yeah, that was I am very glad that I was able to keep my composure. I was really hot there for
I
about
bet.
about 5 laps, but I realized that um when I pitted, it was like, okay, time to reset. That's happened to me. I think I've accidentally bumped people out of the lead before, so it was time party for it to come back to me and time to rally. And thankfully, the way the rest of the race played out, I was able to keep my composure and bring it to victory lane.
Man, I love the mindset, Austin. That's the mindset of a champion right there. Nothing you can do but deal with what's occurred and move on, and you did that. And the gods come down and they say, hey, something happened to you. How about we give Jason a little speeding penalty? That kind of helped too, didn't it?
Yeah, that helped. I wasn't really aware of it in the moment because I mean, this car and this track, I mean, I just could not really stop focusing on what was happening. But I had realized looking at my overlay that he had not reappeared after 10, 15 laps. So I had realized that I guess he had a speeding penalty, and that really got me really remotivated again to really get back in the mindset of, okay, this is my race to lose now, and bring it home.
Now, I love the way you were driving. You weren't letting the car get away from you. Rotating that bottom so good kind of kept those tires a little fresher than some. But you still, when you come out and you look at a 6 second deficit to or more to Paul Travis, you had to think, God, I don't know. There's not a lot of drop off on that here tonight.
No, there really wasn't, and that was the really surprising thing. I mean, I think last week was California, right? So there was 2 seconds of drop off in a run. I mean, I'm looking at my overlay right now. My fastest lap was a 22:022 to start, and I was averaging over the last 5 laps of the race a 23:129.
Right?
So only a second of fall off. So it really kind of shocked me because I had actually never run this car track combo before tonight.
Yeah,
So
I
it
mean,
was
you're kind of
it was
saying, Austin, just to interject, that like they were kind of leveling off at about 23 seconds. So it was a matter of time before you and Travis were pretty similar, and it had to be concerning.
Yeah, yeah, again, I mean, we leveled off. I was able to I believe he was in front of me, right? So he was in front of me, and I was able to take it from him, and he kind of slowly drift back, and then Wesley came up behind me. Am I thinking about that right?
Yeah, yeah. Pistole was on the move. I mean, he was driving great, right? Rolling the bottom, doing a great job, and ebbing and flowing with you. He was a little faster for a bit. You were a little faster, so it was, it wasn't as comfortable as it might have looked to people.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, you have it right. The ebb and flow. In the first run with Jason, I mean, I had opened up the big lead, and then he kind of closed it back, but he really could not get any closer than point 0.6, point 0.5 until I had the run in before I pitted. And it was the same thing at the end of the run with Pistole. I knew that looking at our times that okay, don't be so concerned because it seems to be every 3 laps he gets a couple tenths on you, then you get those couple tenths right back a couple laps later. So just try not to look at it and just drive the car. I knew once I knew that if I could get back past that last group at the end of the race and give him something to kind of maneuver through, that I could give myself a nice cushion because, man, when you got behind someone in traffic, these cars just did not want to turn at all.
Well, I love the mindset, Austin. I love everything you're talking about, the way champions think, and that you're probably not running enough races to think championship here, but I think more victories are on the way. We often say, one leads to more, so you're feeling pretty good about heading into the next couple of races?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling good about them. I should be here for the next couple of races. Just what I do for work just does not allow me to run every single race, and I try to make sure I let the guys know ahead of time that I'm not going to be able to. But I mean, I'm already out of my provisional, so I'm trying to make as much as I can. But see if we can get a couple more victories. And this is what I wanted to do. I think it was a couple races ago when I talked to y'all. I said I want to see if I could steal a couple wins, maybe work myself in the top 10, top 5 in points, and I think that'd be something to be pretty proud of.
Well, I think so too, and you're well on your way, Austin. Congrats on just an awesome race and a great recovery from something not of your doing, and still getting the victory. Congrats. We'll give you the mic, my friend. Any sponsors or friends you want to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank Alive Church, Kylou Glass, East Coast Web Printers. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting the race. I do love looking back and watching the races after I get done. Shout out my mom and dad, maybe my sisters if they're watching tonight. Love you guys. Shout out Red Fox Motorsports, Todd Gilly, my teammate. He was kind of instrumental in keeping me a little bit cool after or during my little getting spun incident. But other than that, looking forward to the next one and go blue.
All right, Jared. That's Austin Inman, the number 18 down in victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, what a job by Austin, getting his first win in the RGR series, the Gen 4 series here tonight, Dean. And you look at this series and you look at this season. We roll on into Charlotte next week. It looks like, and that's going to be a big race. And looking at the standings here, it looks like West Pistol 10-point lead over Michael Walker with the provisionals entered.
Yeah, unofficially, we got them up right now. Walker, Jason Ratliff, Torgerson, Owens falls down quite a bit. Ripka falls. So, going to be interesting. There'll be some good drivers coming back next week. They'll be looking to get back into this hunt, and I can't wait for it, Jared. But I think for tonight, that's going to wrap it up here. Special shout out to the Sweat Hogs, by the way, just saying, or for those who know. Nonetheless, for myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr, that's going to wrap it up here from Richmond, and we'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel TV.